Okay, and we're live. Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Uh, Welcome back, friends, to Cadaver Club. Ben. Been a hot minute since I've done any content. I guess a month since we streamed last.
Yeah.
I'm here with Horror with Hoss, Barry Wilson, and Patrick have Cheetah Will View. What's up? How's it going, Hoss?
been going pretty good. It's been a great month. A lot of great content out there. As always, this time of the year, it's a lot to keep up with because there's so many good things being uploaded, and not to
It's
mention all the films coming out in the theater and streaming in different places. But
feel like it's too much to keep up with. Am I the only one that gets overwhelmed every October?
Yeah, there is a lot to check out, like the Pet Cemetery Bloodlines, and
Haven't seen it.
it's I forget what channel that one. I think it's Paramount. That one's streaming. And, Meg 2's on Prime.
I've watched a number of new movies this month. This month, usually, I pulled off all these movies off my shelf that I have not watched, but I have gotten, and I was like, this October is going to be like, I'm just going to watch all new movies, and just like all these movies I just haven't like had a chance to open up and like check out the special editions and all that shit.
mm-hmm.
And then what happened was I was like, that's fucked up because October is like the month where I get all nostalgic and I want to watch movies that bring me nostalgia. So I ended up watching some new ones and watching a lot of the old classics.
Yeah, it's hard not to want to just watch some of the what you consider like a comfort movie for this time of the year. So
Yeah.
There's so many that like they're mandatory, like Halloween time movies, and
Right.
like, so what are you gonna do? I mean, you got a whole damn franchise you got to watch, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm on Friday the 13th Part 4 right now.
I watched 1 through 5 in September.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm almost there.
Well, I did a 31 days of Halloween, and
Yeah.
I actually did it. I actually got 31. I had 30 movies and 1 book review.
Hobbs in the house. What's up, Hobbs? Yeah, oftentimes I'm like, okay, October, let's do this 31 days of like horror, like make content, and then I'm always like, fuck, man. I always get overwhelmed. This whole month, I actually took an entire break off of like social media, and just hung out.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I'm actually doing that. I'm doing that as soon as this show is over. This is my last show and then I'm taking a month off. I'm going to be shutting down everything and just, I'll be back. You'll see me rumbling around about the middle of November because I have to start booking the show again. But as I'm going to be reading books. I'm going to be cleaning my house, doing some yard work. I'm shutting it down. Oh, but I will be back for my night. I will be back for that. So that's the only thing I'm not giving up because I love this show.
Who's next? Are you next?
I am next.
Okay.
And then you're next.
Mm-hmm.
And Haas, I gotta tell you, I was inspired by Haas's pick last month with the Den.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched a movie called Bound to Vengeance. I gotta tell you, that's the spiritual sequel to The Den. And that's holy shit, that movie is bonkers. I almost picked it. I almost picked it to watch, but I said I'm gonna wait on that for a little bit. I got something else I want to talk about. But man, that movie is bonkers.
So I have to check that one out.
Oh man, that's so good.
What's the name of that one?
Bound to Vengeance.
Bound to Vengeance.
Yeah.
I have not seen that one.
That is that's an ass kicker.
Uh-huh.
Hey Jim.
So let's get into this movie. What did you guys think of this one? Just initial thoughts. Was it a first time watch for anyone, by the way?
Me.
You?
Me. Yeah.
Haas, have you already seen this one?
I had seen it once before, but I did a rewatch today just so it'd be kind of fresh. But yeah,
Sorry,
And
go
I,
on.
and I
I
had
was
to
just going to
remember-
say the initial thing that got me to want to watch it is just I like anthology horror where you have stories, and of course now this one to me I think was a little bit different than your typical anthology horror, but yeah, it was definitely a fun time to not necessarily you know you like everybody likes to have kind of a upkeep ending or something, but still it was good.
Yeah, I think it is a little different than a standard anthology. But people say that Trick or Treat isn't even an anthology. They just say it's like a disjointed story like Pulp Fiction or something.
I guess so.
I think it's an, I
See
think it's
that.
an anthology. It has
See
the
that
simple
too.
stories.
I say it's 100% an anthology, but so
Yeah,
I've
me
heard a lot
too.
of people say that's not even an anthology, dude. You're stupid. And I'm like,
It-
yes, so.
Who said that? Who said that?
Dick.
We'll ride right now. You
Yeah.
insult one night, you incite one night, you insult us all.
Well, let's start with you, Mary. What did you think of this one as a
I
first-time
liked it.
viewer?
First, I put it on, and then I walked away, and I liked the soothing music that comes with the beginning of it when you're gonna scene selection or whatever. That was nice music they have.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. But yeah, it wasn't what I expected in the end. Yes, and it was pretty neat. I like ghost stories. Some kind of suck, but this one was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, the genre can feel tired if it's just sort of like recycled old like tropes that you've seen time and time again.
Mhm.
But usually, if something has like good atmosphere, I felt like some of the stories in this had just good atmosphere, especially that first one.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes.
For me, that's all you really need. Patrick, what did you think of this one?
I loved it. Of course, you already knew I was going to be saying that, but I did. When I got this, I was very excited to watch it, and this is one of those ones that actually, when I did get it, and I got it from the family video, I did go home and watch it right away. It was really good.
I got it at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah, I saw it there. I saw it there too. When it was floating by Mary, I saw
Yeah.
that.
It's hard to find the IFCs, and I snatched that one. So I'll watch that one day.
And it does continue what Haas started last month, and it definitely continued this month. As far as unexpected twists and turns.
Yeah.
And it's got two different arts in it. Like the disc art, like the inside case is different than
Hmm.
the outside. That's pretty neat. I like those switch and cover ones.
Yeah, IFC does that a lot. They do that a lot with their movies.
I like those. Yeah, see, the father wasn't too happy with the daughter in the beginning. He was pretty pissed off with her relationship.
Yeah, he was a dickhead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of a weird way to start a movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The format of this movie was interesting. Apparently, it was originally a stage play. I didn't know that until this time around.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But and it was adapted to film by the same people who wrote it as a play. Yeah, interesting way to start the movie. We start with a few sort of like, I guess if you're watching it as a first-time person, there'd be just some abstract imagery of like an upside-down window type of situation, and then like you go into like what looks like old school Super 8 footage of a bar mitzvah, and
Had all the numbers.
say again.
They had all in the beginning in their intro. They had all the numbers on the.
Yeah, it's all these elements. They come like sort of back through the story. Yeah, we start off with like basically the bar mitzvah, and then the dad gets pissed off that a daughter that he has is dating an Asian dude. Yeah, well, how did you guys feel like when this one first started? How did you feel like? Were you sort of confused by the sort of storytelling of it at all?
I was a little, yeah, because
Yeah, I didn't know where they were going with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was too. I was a little. It was a little confusing, you know, because you could definitely see. I think they're trying to show us how Goodman's character was shaped. You know what shaped his character.
Yeah.
I thought maybe there'd be ghosts in their house.
Oh.
Kind of debunked that.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, you. I thought it was an interesting, and then like it's almost just like a little like a title scene, right? Where it's just the opening credits over this sort of like video montage, and then we jump right into like a psychic talking on stage, and there's some like almost feels like a documentary, right? Someone's making
Yes.
to expose.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we find out that what's his name? Patrick?
Goodman.
Philip Goodman.
Philip Goodman. Professor Goodman.
Professor Goodman. Basically, he's like a professional skeptic. He goes around exposing people who are claim to have like I don't know, be mediums and whatnot. He's just basically like a professional skeptic. What did you guys think of like sort of the introduction to his character?
He seemed sort of like he seemed to take a lot of joy in dispelling all the rumors and all the appearances and all the stories. He seemed to take great joy. Toward the end, he's commenting how he was helping people, but you never really got that from him at all. You really got him as he was a little bit sadistic in the joy that he had. It wasn't like he was doing it to help people. He was doing it just to be cruel a little bit.
Yeah, there's a bit of like theatricality about it, right? It wasn't just like he like did an expose on the dude. It's like he storms on stage and says, it exposes him in this sensational way.
Well, and also there was a mother in the audience that was kind of feeling a little hopeful from what this person on stage was telling her, and then when he breaks in and says that, then it's almost like he's dashing her happiness that she was for a moment enjoying over a traumatic thing that had happened. So
he sort of does it without any care about anyone else or what it's affecting.
Right.
Dan in the house, what's up, dude? But at the same time, like philosophically, yeah, I mean, like this farce might make someone feel good, but then I don't know, morally, is that acceptable to still just like bullshit everyone in order, I don't know. It's interesting. But yeah, so he basically he does expose people, and you get a sense he's a little self-centered, a little like pompous or egotistical, like he's got like the sort of God's eye view on the world, and it's his like duty to bring like, I don't know. Basically, yeah, I mean, you get that feeling basically from our introduction to him.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been fine, if they would have had his character a little bit more scientific, scientifically this can't be happening, or there's no proof of this happening. If he had come across more as an academic, he was, but he really didn't project that. He projected hostility and skepticism and like I said, a little bit of sadistic tendencies and breaking down these stories. Sometimes it's okay to let someone believe what they believe. You don't need to rush down in there and wipe them all out. I mean, there's a lot of people who hold on to those feelings, otherworldly encounters, as they're holding on to that.
I agree with you, but I think there's a difference between someone believing that there's like, I don't know, there's a ghost of their loved one, or like their loved one is still somehow in existence or whatever, on some realm, that's fine. But if there's someone who's sort of like profiting from them off of like this false hope, and that's sort of morally fucked, I think.
Probably think of the one guy that used to do that. I want to say I think it was called the Great. He was called himself the Great Randy. That
Yeah.
he went around and he exposed everybody. He did that. He did the same thing, but he did it. He did it out of that what you just mentioned, Ben. He did it to save people money,
Yeah.
and so his heart was in the right place.
Because I feel like there's a lot. I mean, I'm not trying to talk about anyone's religious beliefs, but I mean, I think there's a trope of evangelical people, like with like this, the theatrics and everything, sort of like bilking people out of their money.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. It's like there's nothing wrong with believing in God or believing you're healed or whatever, but if someone is actively trying to deceive you for a profit, I think that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But we basically, we meet this guy through the sort of like, it's not even clear that it ever was a documentary or anything, or if it was aired. So it's kind of like an interesting mode of storytelling. It's very clearly the fourth wall is broken, and Goodman is like talking to a camera, so it's like an interview type of thing. So you think it's like a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
But then we cut right to him in the same room, different clothes, so it's like a different day and everything, or whatever. And basically, someone delivers a mysterious package to his door. Well, actually, before we get to that, we should talk about how he credits this one dude who was doing work like his that inspired him to sort of take the career path he took. Whose name I can't remember.
Charles Cameron,
Yes.
Cameron.
Who was another guy who was like exposing all this stuff, and that guy also was exposing stuff in documentary format as well.
Right.
And
then they dropped off that crazy package.
Yeah, crazy package of.
Seemed like Goodman was following in his footsteps. I mean, he looked up to Cameron, and I think he patterned himself after him.
Yeah, and even that phrase, "the brain sees what it wants to see," like what Jim said in the comments here. He first hears that from that Charles Cameron, and kind of uses that as a phrase he uses, almost not necessarily a mantra, but something that he just believes in, I guess.
Yeah, and probably will come to resonate more just in general with the theme of the film as we approach the end as well. But yeah, he receives this weird package that's like got a picture of Cameron holding up today's newspaper and a tape, right? That basically says, "Come over and talk to me about this some shit." So he goes and he sort of like travels to this weird bleak town. Sort of reminded me of St. Maud, that same like city, the Coney Island or whatever it was called. In St. Maud. Sort of like a beach type carnival environment, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he goes to meet with Cameron, and he's basically just goes to this trailer that has like a bunch of weird gnomes and shit in front of it to meet his like childhood hero. What did you guys think of this whole like segment?
It sort of reminded me when he went in there and he met this guy, and he's obviously, we can see that Cameron's dying. He's just barely hanging on. He has got all his beds there, but the house is just destroyed, and it's just, you could definitely tell he's on his way out. But it was just, it was like he was scared of death. I mean, I've heard about this many times, where you'll get an atheist who go around their entire life, saying there is no God, there is no God, there is no God, but come on the deathbed, all of a sudden they get religion real quick, and they want to talk to somebody. Because now when it comes face to face with death, now they're not so sure that there isn't a God. So a lot of people will call for a priest or a clergyman or a preacher and to get right with God. And you sort of got that feeling with this guy. He's like, okay, he knows he's on his way out. He spent his whole life, saying there's nothing out there, but all of a sudden now there is. And he's desperate for proof that there is something beyond. And I think that's one of the reasons why he gave those 3 cases to Goodman
And where did he find these cases?
from his own work,
Yeah.
from his own files.
He said these were cases that always stuck with him that he couldn't explain away or something. I mean, I almost felt, Patrick, like it was the opposite. Like he wanted to prove that there was no paranormal stuff, so he brought in like someone else, like, go ahead, prove these are fake and tell me how or why. So he was like, maybe he was sort of coming to that realization that there is something bigger than just what he thought, but he didn't want there to be. You know what I mean?
I sort of got the flip side of that. I mean, he was criticizing Goodman for his work. He says basically you're a hack. I think what he was trying to do is trying to break him from continuing. Like he's saying, like, don't follow me, because what you're doing, you're following me, and it's shit. Because now, I'll tell you why. And here's 3 cases, that I think that there's something to them. And I think he's scared in one sense, because if they are real, and then everything that he's believed up to that point in his life has meant nothing, because now he's got proof that there's there's proof of there's supernatural, there's life after death.
Something pops up behind him too. The figure. Dark shadow.
Yeah, when he goes outside. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought interesting. I guess we should mention that Cameron basically just disappeared from the public eye entirely, and Goodman like comments on it, saying like it's ironic that this guy who solved all these mysteries ended up, becoming such a mysterious thing.
Yeah.
And then we see basically it's like, the old line, don't meet your heroes or whatever, because they might not be what you expect.
Right.
That's sort of what it is. He like brings his book. He's like, I'm gonna meet this dude. I've been continuing his work. He's gonna love me. He's like, here's my book. And the guy's like, put that shit.
No thanks.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You can keep your book. Thanks.
Yeah. That was sort of funny. He's like, he's trying to get him the book. The guy's obviously dying. Getting close to check it out. And he's like, I don't know if it even lasts long enough to read your book, dude.
Yeah, so he accepts the 3 cases and he goes. He basically goes to investigate them, right?
Tony Matthews, or like the Night Watchman case.
Yeah.
First one.
Yeah, we do see on his way he stops at a bench and looks out at the ocean, and he sort of sees some dude bullying some other dude with like a dead bird, right?
Yes.
Right.
Weird thing to throw in there.
Kind of a It's your first watch. You're just like, what does this have to do with anything? Yeah.
Like, that's cool, dude. I guess that dude was fucking with that dude with the dead bird. But there's sort of like a lot of stuff like that throughout this film. Stuff that seems like it's just random, but comes. And
the bag blew into his foot.
Yeah, bag blew into his foot.
Ew.
And then every time you walked up to the knock on the door, and you definitely see there's a large 79 there, and you saw that in the opening credits, and you're going like, oh, okay, that was interesting.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just jump right into the first story where he goes to investigate this dude, and he meets him in a bar. There's like no one else around, basically. Pretty small cast in this one.
Yeah.
And so we meet this dude, and I felt like the way he handled this interview was like, you know, we were talking about how he was sort of like a pompous asshole or something in the beginning, but I thought he handled this with some tact. You know what I mean? I felt like he was a likable enough guy during the interview. Most of the interviews that he had actually. So his interactions with these other people, I felt like he was. It didn't strike me as him being an asshole. But yeah, this guy recounts his story. You know, there's a couple sore subjects with him. He talks about his history, his marriage history. His wife passed away. He had a daughter. The daughter got locked in syndrome, right?
Yeah.
So and he stopped going to visit her because he couldn't take it. He didn't know if she was like even knew he was there or whatever. And then we basically go into this vignette of him explaining his story. And I thought, for my money, I felt like this first segment was the best of them.
I agree.
I thought it had good atmosphere. It was pretty spooky. And all of the stories, I would say they're more just like vignettes rather than like full, complete stories, right?
Yeah.
Right. It didn't finish really. It seemed.
Yeah, they left it open ended. Well, I think they left them all open ended.
There's a reason.
But yeah, so I felt like this one was really good. Basically, he's the night watchman of this asylum for women, right?
Yes.
Like closed. I think it was closed down. It used to be an asylum.
It was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like this one. I felt it was creepy environment with sort of like the dilapidated asylum place, and the lights keep turning off and getting unplugged. Clearly, someone is fucking with him, and I thought all that stuff was done really well. What do you think of this one, Haas?
Yeah, I mean, it just sets that mood, and just the idea of being in that place is something that just freaks me out. And he's just going through there, and at first it's like it's nothing to him, but you know, as things go along, he starts getting genuinely concerned there, and you know, especially a part where he goes back to that little, I don't know what you'd call it, like a office or whatever, closes the door, and then somebody like knocking at the door, and then he goes out and there's nobody there, and so it's you can tell he's starting to get unnerved, as we the watcher is as well.
Yeah, there's things, physical things in his environment that are happening that he can't really ignore, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Mary?
Yeah, I like that part. He's like, he had another guy in there, and I think, was he getting stuff too happening to him, or was he just nervous?
Yeah, so he's got a walkie-talkie. He's talking to like some Russian dude who is newer at the job than him, and the Russian dude's just saying like, "I don't like this place. It doesn't feel right." But I didn't get the feeling that he was being tormented by anything in particular.
Yeah, he had like
nervy.
Okay. Yeah.
Patrick?
I like the guy. I like Tony. I thought his story was really interesting. He was a really interesting character in that. Where Goodman first met him, he was really brusque and you know, sort of aggressive in a way, and and he, you know, he was like he just was he bristled a lot, you know, and then but there was a reason for it, you know, and then as he starts telling his story, and we see the same behavior at the asylum, whereas he's a little bit brusque, you know, he's telling his co-worker who's Russian, he was a Russian immigrant, you know, like learn English, because he was just being a little bit snippy, and it seemed like he was just going to be an asshole, but he surprisingly had a lot of heart and a lot of compassion, and that really does come out.
Probably like the most likable character in the film, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree again with you, Ben. I saw that too. I thought he was the most likable character. I really felt him, and his whole demeanor was, it was hard at first, and then he got soft. And you could see the compassion that came through him, and when he, what I really thought too is when he had encountered, he was terrified, but he didn't run.
Yeah.
He didn't run. He stayed. Most movies, you see a character, looking for 6 ways to Sunday to get out of that situation.
Right.
Especially in a room full of mannequins.
Yeah.
Unless you're Elijah Wood, right?
He would. You get the sense that even though he was terrified, he was scared. Obviously, he was scared, but he didn't run, and he put his hand on her, on what he thought, what he saw. He put his hand on her, like assuring her, and it was just really. It was definitely the best. The best. He was definitely the most interesting character of the 3 stories.
Yeah, I thought that was really well done. How he's in like this creepy ass room with creepy ass mannequins. One of them's covered up, and you see movement, and then he pulls it off. It's just a mannequin, right? I mean, I thought that was
that was creepy.
pretty well done.
Mannequin's creepy.
And then it turns out to be the specter of a girl in a yellow dress. And basically, she puts her finger in his mouth, and it ends.
Yep.
So yeah, some sort of thread going with something in someone's mouth, I guess. But yeah, so that one was I don't know. I think we just sort of go abruptly onto the next one. He's just like basically like leaves and goes on to the interview the next person.
Yeah, generally what he does.
He talked to a priest for a few seconds.
Oh yeah,
and then boom, it went over to Simon Rifkin kind.
The priest, the priest tells the professor, he says, after that encounter, that he himself changed, and if anything else that came out of it, that the fact of the matter that Tony changed his whole demeanor, his whole life around, isn't that the most important thing?
Well, he questions the skeptic who says it's not real. He says, "What's not real?" He thought he saw something and changed his whole life because of it.
Yeah.
No, was he in a wheelchair though? Did he end up in a wheelchair?
I don't think so.
No.
I thought somebody was in a wheelchair.
No. Remember, he's at the bar first. Oh, that was Professor Cameron was in a chair. If anybody was in a chair, it would have been him.
Yeah.
Oh no, his dad was dying. His dad.
Okay. I was wondering who that guy was. Okay.
Yeah, that was his dad. Okay. His dad was dying.
Yeah, so we see after that he goes to the sort of kid's house. I did like this story. I thought that kid probably gave the best performance of the movie. I thought his acting was real good. I think I've only seen that. I saw that kid in Black Mirror is what I recognize him from, an episode of Black Mirror. What did you guys think of this one?
He played crazy. He played that like he wasn't acting. Like I believed that he was crazy. I really did. I'm like, that guy's really not all here, is he?
He plays, yeah. He's like sort of neurotic, right? Like,
oh, he was. Man, he did. He made you feel uncomfortable watching him. Like he was.
Everybody there did. Everybody was very strange and
just the way everything happened in that as he entered the house.
Yeah, just the mom and dad's in the kitchen, just standing there, like
yeah.
And the water's running.
Yeah,
and,
no one's
and
doing
the door just abruptly slams before he starts going upstairs.
How many locks did he have on his doors? Like 10 or
5.
Yeah, on not only the main entrance, but also in his bedroom. So yeah, he's a little paranoid, has a weird relationship with his parents. And when they walk into his bedroom, there's like all this crazy like imagery of demons and stuff on the wall, on all the walls. And he tells him to have a seat. There was like a doll in a yellow dress, right, on the chair that he had to move in order to sit down.
Yep.
Weird.
I tell you what, you know what he reminded me of his performance. You know, he sort of reminded me of Ezra Miller.
Like
You
the
know?
real person.
Yes, the real Ezra Miller. He
The
was
weird
just
narcissist, like cult leader dude, or thing who's like
the Flash, the crazy Flash.
but I feel like Ezra Miller is a narcissist, and I felt like he wasn't a narcissist. He was just quirky and weird,
And terrified.
and terrified.
And he didn't like people mispronouncing his last name.
I guess, you probably get sick of someone that doesn't.
Yeah, he didn't like people. He kept on telling about how to pronounce his last name. That's funny. Yeah, that's right.
I did like this little segment though, his recounting of the story. He's basically him driving on sort of like some weird back road, and it's talking on the phone to one of his parents, right? Keeps calling.
They keep calling, yeah.
Keep calling, and so we get another sort of sense of his weird relationship with his
When
parents.
he snuck the car out and he didn't have a license. I think he came back
Well,
for 30 years. Something.
But they thought he had a license. He was lying about
He
it.
lied, yeah.
He lied about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Never cry wolf, right?
Yeah. His dad's sitting there going, like, "You lied about this. You lied about that. You're probably lying about getting your license for the car." Like,
No,
Lloyd?
You got that right, Daddy-o.
Pop was aware. He wasn't hiding anything from his dad.
but he gets distracted and basically hits something. Stops his car, freaks out a little, goes out to look at it, and it's some weird hoofed creature thing, humanoid.
Krampus.
It looks goat-like, but it's also like the size of what a human would be.
Yeah, sort of like a fawn or whatever, or a demon, or a Krampus, which looks like a demon.
Yeah.
He did have a picture of Krampus on the wall, right?
Yeah,
Did he?
he has all sorts
A lot of
things.
horned beings, I guess.
Things. But yeah, he goes and he's like, "Fuck this," and like basically drives away. What did you guys think of this segment?
I liked it. It was pretty fun. It's one of the fun ones, I think.
Well, just the way his car goes on the fritz, like he's not got that far down the road from where he hit this thing, and then he can't get a signal inside his car, and he's gonna have to get outside if he wants to get a signal to call for I guess like their version of AAA.
I heard 45 minutes. All right.
Yeah, so it could be up to 45 minutes before they'll be there.
But he did also say like 10, right? 10 to 45.
10 to 45.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want to hear when you're in the middle of nowhere, and especially after something like that happens.
Last time I called roadside assistance, I literally sat around the whole day until they didn't show up in time to get my motorcycle to the dealership. And then I just called up and said, "Fuck you guys. Don't send anyone because there's no point anymore." And then they called me back twice and they're like, "Did that guy ever show up?" I'm like, "Dude, I already canceled all this. Just stop. Like, you totally suck." So his experience was better than mine,
Right.
But basically, he gets out and then there's something there with him.
Yeah.
And I thought this was pretty creepy, like just the, it's
Like when it gets in the back seat.
Yeah, I guess in the
and
back
he's
seat.
like,
You know what's funny? It was funny though. It was funny is that for one thing, it felt like sitting around a campfire telling this story. This second story felt like you were at a campfire and you were hearing this, like the creature at the night. But the weird thing I got out of it was the creature that got in the car when he told him, when he says, "Oh fuck that, I'm out of here," and he says, "Stay."
Stay.
He told him to stay because he was protecting him. not because he was trying to get him, because he was trying to tell him not to go out there. Because the creature that was in the car was not the same creature that grabbed him.
Correct.
That is correct.
Ah.
But I also feel like if that creature could speak, he could have just said, "Hey, dude, don't go over there. There's some weird tree shit going on."
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be all cryptic about it if he was actually trying to help him. I feel like he was also kind of fucking with him, you know.
Hopefully
I mean, you don't
it's not
just
a tree from Evil Dead.
yeah, exactly, right. You don't just like slide into someone's back seat and fuck with them if you're actually trying to warn them per se. But yeah, it's sort of weird. I don't really know what to think about that. He gets grabbed by some weird tree creature thing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Different than what he hit. Echo Sarah and the Heezy. What's up, dude?
Hey.
Tree monster. Yes.
Yes, that was but didn't that story sort of feel like you're sitting around a campfire with s'mores and someone's sitting there going, on a dark and stormy night, there was this young kid driving his car home, and it felt like a campfire story.
I feel like most of them kind of felt that way because those campfire stories tend to be feel like vignettes, and then the hook was in the door when they got to the, it's just sort of like, it's not like a full like narrative or anything. It's like they were making out, they heard a weird scratch, and then when they got there, there's the thing and the thing.
It's the hook on his arm, scratching on the roof.
But yeah, I agree. But I also kind of like that about it, they were vignettes, like I feel like if you guys seen Mortuary Tales, right?
Sure.
Yes.
Good anthology. But there's like a girl going in the thing and she's talking about how predictable all of the stories in an anthology are, where you just have someone gets their comeuppance or whatever. And this really didn't have any of those things that you would associate with anthology segments, because they were just like these weird vignettes.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought they were good nonetheless.
Yeah.
And then they click away from it. Like he's like,
Yeah.
the tree monster. And then
the tree monster. Then that's, you're right.
Checking out some where the kid must have hit the fence or something.
Yeah, Goodman goes back to that location. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was you expected him to. You expected it to. I thought, well, is he going to get there? And is it going to be at night? Is he going to be there? In time for evening? But he was there in the afternoon. And then he had that real creepy encounter with himself in the car.
Well, he seen the tree. He saw the tree, but it was kind of like, he's like, oh, that could be just the tree he saw.
Right.
But yeah, then he saw his
reflection in the car. Yes, he was looking. He could see him. He could see himself in his car, and in the car. I guess what he saw, the one thing I noticed, that he had no color. It was just,
it was as if he were dead. Yeah.
Right.
Kind of sickly looking, has sort of like dark rings around his eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty interesting. There's been a few moments up to this where he sees weird flashes of stuff, right? And sort of just ignores it or pays it no mind. But this one sort of shook him. They show his reaction. He was like, "What the fuck?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then that was pretty cool. Like when he opens the door, as the door is opening, it's like swiping his image
ghost away. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That was a cool effect.
And the third story,
Mike Priddle.
Yep.
Mike Priddle, good old Mike Priddle, played by Martin Freeman.
He looks familiar.
John Watson, to those who might be wondering, Dr. John Watson.
Yeah, he was Watson. He was a Hobbit. He was in The Office.
Okay, he was a Hobbit.
Okay, yeah, he's also the MCU CIA agent.
Also, in the Fargo TV series, the first season.
I like the movie. I haven't seen the series.
And I think he was
I thought he was great in the series.
Yeah,
I think
I
he's
did too.
in the UK's office too.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like Jim. He was like the Jim dude.
Hmm.
But really, he's a good actor and everything. Playing this sort of like rich, some kind of financial wizard type of dude, stockbroker type. Recounting a story. They're just walking in nature.
Making odd little jokes here and there.
Yeah,
Working that phone.
affable
Yeah.
enough. Yeah. Yes, yeah. So I thought this one was, maybe like one of the more half-baked ones, but still good in its way. But he's
Like how do you think it was? I liked the restraint they showed though, because you didn't know what was going to happen. Because as far as he's just his story. It was just so he was so nonchalant. Of all the three, he was the one that really didn't seem to be affected by his story very
Yeah,
much.
he's kind of matter of fact about it. Like,
Right.
Yeah, it didn't affect him at all.
But
But like,
hospital.
I know what you mean, like his sort of recounting of it and everything. But yeah, his character sort of comes back in a big way in the wraparound. But yeah, I thought this was pretty interesting enough. Basically like he's dealing with a poltergeist in his place. His wife is pregnant at the hospital, giving birth to his baby. He's not there. He's at home, and weird shit happens. His wife dies during childbirth, right? And he sees her vision like as a specter in the living room or whatever.
Hmm.
In the baby's room, that was creepy.
Yeah, baby's room.
Baby Barty.
Baby ghost.
Yeah, this is one of the few movies where the image on the title you actually see this
Yeah.
in the movie at some point. So.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was well told. I thought he played that sort of like self-absorbed, sort of like affable dude who doesn't really, I thought he played him pretty well.
I didn't see the ending coming though.
Did not see the ending coming. They're basically walking in nature, and he's like, it seems like they're out hunting, or like, well, they go to like this cabinet that has shotguns in it, and he says, "Hey, you ever kill anything?" And he's pretty quiet, and he's like, "I guess nothing you want to, you want him to find out about, or whatever."
Like, how would he know, right?
Yeah, but he sort of like his character plays it as just like a joke you would say to anyone, right? But it ends up having like a strong resonance with him.
Nudge, nudge.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty good, yeah, because he basically, he's like sort of has this cavalier attitude as he's telling the whole story, but then he basically just like shoots himself in the head with a shotgun.
I wasn't expecting that one.
Well, I thought it was like he's talking with him, and then he looks away as if he sees something, and then whatever he sees seems to trigger him doing that. I didn't know if y'all caught that or not.
Oh yeah, the figure on top of the hill. Yeah.
Is it the parka boy?
The
person in the parka?
I guess that's what I'm saying.
I
it's
couldn't
like
really tell.
He's talking, and then he looks, and then immediately he fixes the shotgun.
Yeah, we've seen that imagery a few times throughout the film. I thought it was pretty interesting because it's like a dude in a parka, but it also sort of is like imagery of like the Grim Reaper. With cloak drawn, you don't see any face or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it does have sort of like a sort of sense of dread that follows that imagery places. But yeah, we basically shoots himself in the head, and then Goodman is going back to Homeboy's trailer. He's like, "This is a bunch of bullshit. They're all fake, and this is why." And as he's telling him, the dude's like, things aren't always as they seem. He's like, bullshit.
Wasn't that his saying too? They aren't always what they seem, or don't believe everything you see, or something.
The brain sees what it wants to.
What it wants to see. Yep.
Yeah. He ought to know.
And then this there's like a weird reveal where dude peels his face off, and it turns out to be Martin Freeman in the prosthetic, proving that dude really doesn't know what's going on, and so he's pretty stunned at that. I guess anyone would be like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? What did you guys, the first time you watched this, were you guys pretty like, what the fuck is this all about?
Yeah, because I was like, we just saw this guy shoot himself, but yet here he is, and he's got the tearaway clothes, got his nice suit underneath that. It's like, what is going on here?
I thought they're going to reveal he was in a crazy house. Like he was in the house where the ladies were in the ward somewhere.
Yeah,
I was waiting for him to pop horns and like do like Roddy McDowell on Fantasy Island, like, oh shit, maybe this guy's a devil or something.
Yeah, you get the feeling. I sort of got that feeling too. It was like a Tales from the Hood type of scenario where this dude's like, taking them on a tour all around, and then turns out he's like sinister being, right?
Scooby-Doo ending.
Yeah, and he sort of had that energy about him, like he could very well be like some satanic figure or whatever. Weird little thing where he's like, things aren't what they seem. Tears his face off, and then like tears the wall open, and it's just like a picture or whatever, right? And you can see Goodman was pretty fucking confused.
Well, one thing I thought was odd too is right before he does that thing where with the finger, Goodman says, "Can we cut?" Like he's again heading back to like the whole documentary thing, and then Martin Freeman's going like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about? Can we cut?"
Yeah, there's no camera. There's no camera through here.
Yeah, that was weird.
Someone's had delusions right there. It turns out that Martin Freeman's character, Priddle, it turned out that he was actually the opposite of what we thought. It's going to be a like the Horned Devil, and he's not. It's actually opposite. It's like he's there sort of like a guardian angel, so to speak, in a sense. He's like he's walking this guy through, and he's explaining to him what's going on, and he has no malicious intent. He just I think he was just. I think he was frustrated with him that he didn't seem to learn anything, though.
So, like the smoking lady in Beetlejuice, it didn't read your Book of the Dead, see, Priddle. It didn't give it to him or something.
Right.
He's not really dead. He's kind of like in coma.
I didn't know what he was. At that time, I was sitting there going like, okay, so what's going on with this? When he took the mask up, I'm going like, is this an elaborate hoax? Is he being filmed? I mean, is this for a show?
Right.
And then, but then when he had turned around and he cut the wall, and then you knew that it was. That's when it went from being like almost like a literal movie, as far as setting goes, to allegorical, I guess.
Yeah.
And it just changed right there with that when he cut the wall out, and then it got really weird.
Yeah, there's a door that appears. They go through the door. They're walking out in nature, and Martin Freeman is like, I don't know, that whole part. Basically, takes him to, he leads him to like his memory. He has this traumatic thing that we keep seeing, sort of like flashes of in various ways. Where we got the dude with the dead bird, fucking with his buddy, and takes him back to like his youth, some thing in his past that happened with these two bully types.
Yeah, what assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It never ceases to amaze me how like people can like are just genuine assholes. I don't really come into contact with genuine assholes like on a daily basis, but
I live in Florida. That's
the one.
Well, just bullies in general. I mean,
Right.
some of them may not be as sadistic as these seem to be, but You know, we've all, I'm sure, had to deal with bullying in some form or fashion.
Hmm.
I know I did personally. So when
Yeah.
I was a kid, so it kind of resonated a little bit with me, that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they basically are just like bullying Goodman, doing some weird little
Throwing rocks at the bottle and
nursery rhyme, calling him Jew face, and like beckoning him over to this weird tunnel and fucking with him. Yeah, they're like, hold this glass bottle in front of your face as I break it
Yeah.
with a rock.
Yeah.
And then they get
sure.
yeah, that sounds like fun. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's
Sure.
do that. How much fun is that?
And of course, this whole time he's like, I gotta go home, blah blah blah. So he's like, not you clearly know he's not into having glass broken in his face or whatever. And then we get interrupted by some parka dude. Um, what did you guys think of this whole like segment? You know, going into this segment.
Like they flashed over to him being young, so you knew it was like it was him getting bullied, and you could see him remembering things. I guess he's going over his life.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
Things that
event that he's been kind of wanting to not necessarily forget, but act like it didn't happen, even though it's clearly been bothering him all of his life.
yeah. It's like it seems like it's this event that's caused him guilt throughout his entire life. That he
definitely should.
deeply regrets something about it. Um, what do you think, Patrick?
Yeah, I felt the same way. I just felt really bad for him. The fact that he walked through there as an adult, but then all of a sudden then we see him flash back to when he was a kid, and you can see how powerless he really was. He didn't. The only thing that saved him was somebody weaker than him came in. Someone who that and was willing to do the other people's bidding. In an attempt to belong. And he didn't try to stop him or anything. He was just like, gosh, the attention's not on me anymore. I can stand over here and you know and just stand here, and hopefully they won't remember me, because they're too busy messing with the other kid.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely sort of took the spotlight off of him. Um, and clearly Goodman at this point is like intimidated and into like not being. He sort of like tries to like be like, hey, don't fuck with him or whatever, but like he's scared, so he doesn't
Yeah.
really find the resolve to actually do anything about it. But yeah, they tell Parker dude who's got weird hair and seems slow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Bojack.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Jack. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they fuck with him, and they're like, do you even know how to count? He's like, I could count to 100. So we see that he's, like innocent, easily manipulated or whatever, and they send him into this tunnel, uh, and, on a quest to join their gangs because and the kid wants to belong, so he goes. And they say there's 10 numbers, you got to remember the 10th one, but then we find out, of course, there is no 10th one. Yeah, and he goes in and he dies of an asthma attack.
That was sad.
Yeah,
it was.
That was sad. You could definitely tell that that really weighed on his conscience too. He carried that with him. As a child, he carried that with him. He could never. Maybe that's where he felt like he was trying to help people because he gave that speech to Martin Freeman out there on the train tracks. I'm trying to help people, and it's like, but are you? I
yeah,
mean, I mean,
because he had multiple chances he could have helped this other person, and he chose to do nothing, which is
well,
still.
he did choose to do nothing. He chose to run away, right, and not mention it to anyone. Which I feel like at some point when you're a kid, it's like fight or flight response. You learn lessons like along the way, like if you see something, you're gonna say something, but there's always like I don't know. I feel like there's been moments like that in my life where I just like didn't know what to do, and so I did nothing. You know, in this case, it ends up being like the resulting thing is someone's actual death. But at the same time, I feel like he kind of already died before he did nothing. You know what I mean? Like he was in there basically suffocated before they would be able to do anything about it.
But to find his body, though,
Yeah.
for the parents to have closure.
I mean, how would
Definitely
you
give up where the body's at.
I mean, but you have a feeling that he don't know if he actually did that, because they would ask him, "How did you know the body was there?" And is he going to turn around and is he going to tell on those two other kids? Because you didn't get the impression that that's what he did. You just got the impression that he left and that was it. He didn't say anything.
Sort of
Well,
like
they would have been put away for murder or something.
Yeah, if he would have, they would have caught him if he would have said that he was there, and he didn't do anything, or who else was there? Who else was there? What did you see? Like, because that kid, I don't think that kid Kojak would have went in there on his own. He had to be manipulated to go inside. He was, because he was simple minded.
yeah.
And that was his bag of food and stuff. With the bag that blew up onto his leg was the bag that he was carrying.
Right.
And put down before he went in the hole. So that was the one. And what was 79, the ninth number or something?
I actually thought he was going to take the food with him. When he left.
Go eat that in here.
I think it was Chinese food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Chinese food.
Everyone likes Chinese food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we find out this is where everything sort of starts unraveling, right?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about this sort of like transition and resolution to this whole story in general? Haas, what do you think?
Well, it was definitely wild. Like, I mean, when he goes back to see Martin Freeman's character, and there's the baby, and he goes over to feed it, he gets a thing. It was a cat food or something. Yeah. He's feeding this that, and you get the impression, well, it's not a human. Why would he be feeding a human cat food? And then he's like having to calm it down, and then
it's covered in poop.
Yeah, and he just.
I've known a couple of humans that have eaten cat food.
Patrick's like, I'm not going to name any names.
No. I'm not going to name any names.
It's like Temptations, yum.
And then
Patrick's wiping the corner of his mouth. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the figure that he's been seeing throughout the film comes back, and we see it's the person that he left there, and you get to see a more gruesome view of that person, and he's getting the last laugh in this whole thing, because Goodman knows where he's taking him.
Yeah,
and he doesn't want to go where he's taken, because he says, not again. He doesn't want to go back. It's it's giving you an impression he's gone through this before, and he knows when it gets to this part that it's he doesn't want to, and of course the person who's taking him is delighting in this, because he's like, yep, you're going right where you belong at, basically.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I got.
I just felt like he, I think between the fact that he couldn't handle his own parents, the fact that he was bitter, going around trying to expose all these other people, the guilt from that Kojak passing away, I think you can see how that could all had led up to him ending up to where he did. That all came up, and he had to cash the check. He wrote it. He has to cash it. And that's the reason why he ended up where he did, from some of the choices he didn't make.
Yeah. I mean, he basically find out that he attempted to commit suicide, carbon monoxide poisoning, car in the garage type of situation, and is now in this vegetative state, or so they say. But he ends up being the dude who's got like locked-in syndrome. And I mean,
that's gonna be. I've heard of that. I've seen that. I mean, it's that's just something just crazy to comprehend, that you're fully conscious, like right here, right now, and you can't say anything. You can't do anything to let anybody know you're still here and you still have this level of consciousness.
Seems like that Metallica song.
Yeah, one.
Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except he can't. He doesn't know like Morse code.
Mm-hmm. You know.
And Echo saying that he too also ate cat food.
Oh, okay.
And yes, I ate cat food too.
I have not eaten cat food, nor fed it to some weird monster baby, but that's just
Not today.
yeah.
That's good. That's because you feed him pizza, Ben. You're much you're a nicer guy.
Jen's reviews from the grave and the Heezy saying her and Sparky have not seen this one. Well, I guess we just ruined it for you, unfortunately. But I would recommend watching it.
Spoiler.
Yeah. I definitely, we might go deep dive into these movies, but that doesn't take it away that people could watch them themselves and see them for themselves and come to their own opinions and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I liked this one sort of. It's got that sort of like twist ending. So like Identity sort of did that too, right? Where it has like this sort of ending that they've been sort of like flaunting in your face the whole time, and it ends up being something you're not expecting it to be.
Right.
I thought it was pretty good, but it is bleak, like you said, Patrick, because there's no upward resolution. Basically, the movie ends with a bird hitting a window.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Bad times.
Symbolism from earlier.
I guess the dead bird that the kid was. It's just.
Okay.
It's almost like restarting that cycle again.
That's what it's from. It's from the kid. Gotcha.
Charlie cut its head off for one of her sculptures.
Oh.
You're right.
Reference to Patrick's favorite movie.
Oh man, no, I'm not gonna fall. I'm not falling into that trap this time. I'm gonna stay out of it.
Artie's in the house too. What's up, Trash Picture Show?
Hey.
Yeah. So overall, what do you guys think of this one? Like, how would you rate it, Hoss?
I mean, I'd definitely give it. Like a 8. I would say it's a very entertaining, and each of these stories, we're good in themselves. The first one being the strongest, as I think we kind of all agreed on there. But
well, we saw that too. At the end when we see that, and we see that Tony walks into the room. We see him, and as he walks into this room, we see that he has the most compassion. He really was the kindest person in the whole movie.
Yeah, he's the only person who like pays him any actual mind. He talks to him, calls him, like has a nickname for him.
And as you're sitting there in the room, everything that had already been played, you hear it all come back. Everything it was like a symbol. A lot of the things that we saw earlier were all symbols of the things that were inside that hospital room.
Yeah, really, every character in the movie, right?
And his fingers in his mouth was his breathing tube.
Fingers in the mouth, breathing tube. You got the kid who is like the nurse orderly type of dude.
And they didn't get his name pronounced right.
Yeah, Martin Freeman's the doctor who was like, I guess carbon monoxide should have just done a shotgun to the head. And then homeboy comes in and mops up the floor and is like, hey, here's a change of view for you, and he puts the thing up so you can look out the window.
Yeah, and that's what we saw throughout the movie. That we saw that symbol that it looked like we were looking through a mirror. I mean, through a glass window. We didn't know that it was upside down, but we're looking through a glass. They showed that scene like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sort of opens with that, like just before, like at the end of the sort of bar mitzvah montage in the beginning. We see something sort of approaching the window, and then it cuts to like a weird film, like, and then the story starts, right?
That's the thing on a repeat viewing. These things that I guess did not make as much sense. You pick up on all that, and you're like, oh yeah, here we go, and then just I think it kind of makes everything come together even more.
Yeah. Mara, how do you rate this one?
7.5. I like the atmosphere to it. I'm not, like I said, I don't really like ghost stories, but it's a good ghost story.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Patrick,
And the
how about
acting
you?
was great.
I would give this an 8 too. I definitely feel it was very good. The acting was great, and the ending was definitely dark.
Yeah, pretty bleak. Pretty bleak to just consider like this dude's basically stuck in this hell with no resolution at all, after a botched suicide attempt. That's pretty bleak. But yeah, I like this one. I'd probably rate it 8. Like I said, I like films that have good atmosphere, and I felt this did. I love anthologies. I just love short form storytelling like that. And then these were more like vignettes. I feel like a vignette is successful if it evokes some kind of feeling or something. I felt all these had really good atmosphere about them. I thought the cast was pretty good. And yeah, overall, I'd probably give it an 8. I'd recommend it to people. Jen and Sparky should definitely give it a watch.
Definitely.
It does try to lighten the mood there in the closing titles when it plays Monster Mash. So
Yeah,
there is that.
Yeah,
You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, classic song. Yeah, overall, pretty good one, I thought. Good job, Ben, at selecting this one.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
job,
You
Benny.
did a good job.
Good boy. You
Yeah.
got a good one.
Man, this is just we just we just consistently pick the good ones. It's I'm always interested in seeing what Mary and Haas and Ben, you guys always are picking up some really cool movies. That's for sure.
Yeah,
It puts a lot of pressure on the other person because you want to get a good one.
they can't all be good, dude.
Well, you just watch them to enjoy it.
Sometimes the best discussions are about shitty films.
That's right. That's right. That's why we we always talk about Hereditary. So you're right. I mean,
I don't follow you, Patrick. What are you talking about?
Well, I will tell you for our next movie on November 26th, we will be watching What Keeps You Alive.
Oh, yeah, I did have seen that one.
So this stars the lovely Brittany Allen, who starred in It Stains the Sands Red, and she is a fine composer as well. And it also stars Hannah Emily Anderson. And this is
I was looking at that one too.
Yeah, this is Colin Minahan, who ended up marrying Brittany Allen. So
yeah, it's got like a lesbian couple, right?
Yeah. So
what day is that? The 26th?
The 26th of November.
26th.
And the tag is there's a demon inside.
That'll be a first time watch for me.
Well, I won't spoil anything for you. I think I liked it. Pretty good.
I almost went with another movie, but I said I'm going to give that one some time to breathe, and then when it comes back around, then I'll spring it on you guys because it was awesome.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yes. I'm going to wait till Megan's turn, and then I'm going to spring that one on you guys. But yeah,
I was checking out The Abandoned. Have you guys seen The Abandoned?
Oh, The Abandoned is interesting. The Abandoned is actually interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Jason
Patrick
from Lost Boys.
Yep, Jason Patrick is in that. Yep, that's actually the second IFC movie I ever watched with The Abandoned.
Okay.
It's on Tubi. I'm halfway through it. I like what
From 2015? No, from 2006.
I
I think it's 2015.
2015.
Let's see. It's
Yeah.
on
That's
TV.
one. Well, that's the one that has Jason Patrick at least.
Yeah, that's an interesting movie too. Has actually, if I'm not mistaken, it has similar themes to Ghost Story, similar but different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2000. Yep, 2015. And then there's it was either that or Our House.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Was gonna
That's a
down.
really, I love that one. Our House is really good.
I've seen his house. What's our house?
No, it's Our House. That's a really good movie. That's actually, it's almost like it's, I mean, I mean, I'm saying this in the most positive way, but it's like a really cool family movie. You know, it really,
2018, and
but it's really good.
it's PG-13.
Yeah, it's really good.
Parents killed in a car accident.
Mhm.
Leave for college, and he's got to take care of his brother and sister. Don't they create a machine or something?
Yeah, they created a
Okay.
machine. Yeah, that's a great movie, Mary. If you pick that one,
That one looked pretty good to me too. So it's a toss up.
oh,
For me.
at least, well, either one's. I like the Abandoned, but I liked Our House. Our House was that was a really interesting movie.
Not a blood glacier.
No, has a lot of heart to it. But this wasn't a blood glacier either. I mean, other than the shotgun, this actually could have been PG-13 as well. This Ghost Story, if you think about it. I mean, it wasn't
Right.
overly gory or anything like that. I mean, the only reason they got an R was because of the shotgun scene. That was it.
They don't really show like the shotgun. Yeah.
It's not like a close-up view. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I actually thought this could be maybe they got an R because of the subject matter itself, you know. But I didn't really see anything. You know, it was an interesting movie, and it was bleak, but it wasn't scary. It was dark, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I'm terrified. You know.
I feel like there's language and like
Yeah, Tony. Tony got this movie the rated R. That's for sure.
But yeah, all right. What's the movie again, Patrick?
The movie that we'll be watching next month on November 26th at 8 o'clock on my channel is What Keeps You Alive.
Okay.
All right. I think the last time I picked was Hellgate, and you guys sort of crushed my nuts on that one. I love that movie though.
I didn't crush your nuts. You crush your nuts.
I love that movie. That movie's really good to me. I can relate to it. But they're all, yeah. So that's it for next month.
All right.
Well,
Well,
the new one, When Evil Lurks, looks like it's a pretty good one. A new one.
I'm waiting for that. I'm gonna rent that out when it comes out to the library. I've heard nothing but great things about that movie.
I think it's just came on Shudder, right? I saw James Reviews from the Grave had done a review of it that I was watching earlier that said it was really good.
I've heard nothing but great things about that.
All right, well, yeah, I'll probably watch that one soon. It's October, so happy spooky times, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good October. I've been, like I said, sort of incommunicado from everything this month, but I'm sort of jumping back in the fray. So
I thought maybe you were just laying a waiting for Godzilla -1 to come out.
I am waiting for Godzilla -1 to come out. I think they got distribution, like theatrical distribution, in Ireland and the UK.
So yeah, and isn't it? And I think the Godzilla miniseries is going to be on Netflix on the 17th of November. I think it's supposed to be dropping.
I know that Monarch has a series coming out where Wyatt Russell plays a young Kurt Russell.
Right. That's
Cool casting. I don't know if that's out already, or I don't have Peacock or whatever.
November 17th.
But that should be interesting enough.
They better have Jet Jaguar in that one.
Good old Jet Jaguar. Do you guys want to plug anything? Just sort of go clockwise here, Hoss. Would you have anything to talk about?
I just, other than that, I've been uploading some of my collection videos again, and there's a few. The Hobbs Spooktacular I was a part of, and there was a horror tag I did, but just mostly been trying to watch a lot of horror movies and try to keep up with all these videos coming out. There's so many. It'll take me a while to get through all of them.
Word. Mary, how about you?
Just a picture.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Can you see it?
Oh, Argento.
Yellow.
Like
That
it.
was pretty neat.
Nice.
That was a pretty tough one. Like the glass breaking. And the little cardboard things
Oh,
for the yard. All the Amazon packages, I've been using the cardboard and making decorations for the yard.
nice.
Nice, yeah.
That Giallo should have been much better. They had such a great cast to it. Had Adrian Brody and Emmanuel.
Lewis.
No, it was not Emmanuel. What was her name? Yeah, I think that was her name. She played the in the Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp.
I have not seen The Ninth Gate.
You have not seen the Ninth Gate? That's
Nope.
a movie.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
That's a fantastic movie too. Oh, yeah.
Patrick, you got.
I had a copy. I got from Family Video, but they had turned to be scratched. So now I'm back to looking for another copy.
Do you want to promote anything, Patrick?
Yeah, I got the 31 Days of Halloween is up and at 'em, and I made a giant playlist. So if you guys want to go check that out, and a couple of turkeys in there, but I think for the most part I did some really good ones. I got a Consecration, which is a tremendously that was really good. I love that movie. I'm looking for that. I'm hoping the library will drop it. I watched that. I watched the Pope Exorcist.
That one's good too.
That was surprisingly good for a big studio commercial project. That was actually really good. I was surprised. Let's see. What else did I watch? That I got the worst movie of the year that I watched. It came to my 31 Days of Halloween, and it was not The Amazing Bulk. Believe it or not. I've seen a movie worse than that. And then I saw the last movie I'll come out of my 31 days that I really, really liked, surprised me, was Haley Bennett did a movie called Christie. That was really cool as well. Like that a lot.
Great.
Otherwise, I won't be back till December.
Yeah, well, enjoy your time off, dude. It's pretty good to take time off every now and again, I think.
Yeah, you have to.
It's a fucking grind, dude.
Mm-hmm.
As for me, I haven't been making videos in so long that I feel like totally out of practice. But I do have videos that I keep wanting to make. I got tagged by Jen's Reviews from the Grave to do David Diggs' Halloween tag. So I keep meaning to do that, but it's almost Halloween, so I'm kind of fucking that one up. But yeah, I feel like I just need to get that ball rolling again. I feel like, my sort of YouTube hymen is regrown.
Well,
you know how weird it is to talk to a camera? You gotta know, right? So Uh,
For you, Hyman.
Mary, I hope that never comes out of your mouth.
No. No regrowing that stuff.
all right. Well, thanks to everyone who stopped by the stream and is still watching.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's about it for us. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye, Mothra.
Happy Halloween.
As we wait, have that awkward